Here we go, Agricola. Veniunt, they are coming. E lateribus suis extrusi. Extrusi is a perfect in the singular, so I've driven them out, basically. E lateribus suis, from their hiding places. Et vota vertisque. This is usually prayers and your valor in aperto, is in the open. This would be to his own people. The vows and valors, what they hope for, is in the open. Omnia qui prono victoribus. So everything is prone to these people as victors, prone or inclined towards them. And iadem victis adversa. And everything is against these same people, victus, the beaten, the defeated. Nam ut, for ut can be so that or as, superasse in a rather oblique, tantum itinerus. Looks like so as to have surpassed, to have overcome such journeys or marches as by the itinerus. Evasisi silvus, which comes from evade, etc., is to have gone through the woodlands, the silvers. Transisse esturia, so as to cross through estuaries. Pulchrum ac decorum in frontem. Beautiful and honourable or decorable in frontem. This is probably to the front of the army. There's quite a few things that could mean. It's probably is to the front of them. And ita fugentibus, and thus or so to the fleeing. Periculissima, the superlative, is the most dangerous. Quae, which, hodie today, prosperum masunt, which is another superlative. So, to the fleeing, the thing which today is most prosperous, when you're fleeing will be most dangerous. So we've contrasted the front of the army, the forward part, to your backs when you're fleeing. Nequi enim, for neither, nobis tuas, ought, either, locorum eadem notitia is the, eadem means the same, demonstrative pronoun, notitia is the knowledge of the place, or comitum eadem abundantia. So eadem means the same again, comitum is the genitive plural of provisions, and abundantia is the abundance. So it goes, for neither to us is either the knowledge of the same places or locations, or an abundance of the same provisions. Said, but manus et arma, but our hands and arms et in his, and in these things, omnia is everything. So everything is in these, in our hands and our arms, basically. But they don't have the knowledge of the place or the provisions in abundance. Quod ad me attinat, so here we have what attains to me. Attinat ad me is a common thing of doing it. I think you see that in the impersonal download as well. So, as to what attains to me, yam predem. Now, predem in formerly or long ago, long since, me, to cretum est. There was a decree, there was a decision to me, so I've decided. Est nequi exercitus, nequi ducus, terga tuta est. So, as it pertains to me, I've long ago decided that neither for an exercitus, which is an army, nor of a leader, is it tuta est, is it safe, terga, to show your back. So, yeah, it's not safe to turn your back. So he's saying it doesn't want to flee, I'm guessing. Okay, so we had ducus was the leader, terga was the back. Proindi, adverb. So then, et honestamos, so then, we'll say also an honest death to pi vita potio, rather than, and now we have the comparatives in the ablative. So then an honest death rather than a turpid life, which is a shameful or disgraceful life. Et in colomitas et decos, iodem loca situsunt. So incolumus means in a safe, and decos means honourable. So he's saying sita est ea locum. So situated in the same place, safety and honour are placed in the same place now. So there's not a split of honour and safety. It is both honourable and safe. The decision he has now of an honest death to a shameful life. Nec inglorium fuerit. So neither is it inglorious, fuerit is in the perfect sense. So it's not inglorious. In ipso terrarum, genitive, and nature fine cacites. So neither is it inglorious. Cacites means to fall. Fine is the ablative. In the end, we get the final thing and other words like that. At the end, terrarum, of the earth and of nature. So these are genitives in ipso, in these themselves. So in the ipso fine, in the end itself of the land and nature. 34. We've now got inverted commas saying this is a quote. Si novo gentes, if there were new races, plural, atqui and ignota acis, and an unknown battle formations or lines up constitutet, which were standing there, or you're facing them or you're up against them, aliorum exercitum exemplis. So examples, genitive, of other armies, vos hortarira. Again, that's the opponent. So I would encourage vos, you, with the examples of other armies. Nunc vestra decora recensete. This is an imperative. So now, recenser means to think over, replay over, vestra decora, your honours. Vestris oculis, interrogate. Another imperative. This was what he's asking his men to do, and you know the plural ending. So ask your own eyes, your vestros oculus. Hi sunt. These are, cause those who, proximo eno, in the preceding year or over the last year, unem legionem, one legion, furto, noctis ad gressos clamore de bellastis. So you have de bellastis, that's the termination for you. You have beaten these, noctis, in the night, with one shout, clamor. So those in the previous years, they attacked one legion furtively, basically by night, and you have conquered them. You have ballasted them with a shout. And aggressos goes with the plural form of high here. It's accusative plural. Okay, so the quas and the aggressos go back to this high sunt. Okay, where were we? High, these again, Ceterorum, Britannorum, double genitive, fugasissimi. Okay, there's the I again for the plural. These are the most fugitive types of people. Again, it's the superlative of the rest of the Britons. These are, of the rest of the Britons, the type most likely to flee. Idioque, and for this reason, idios for this reason. Tam divi, for so long, superstites, they have survived. Quomodo. Silvus, again, this is the woodland. Saltus quis, these are mountain passes or some other type of woodland. Penetratibus fortissimum quodque animal. Animal is a neuter, quad's the neuter. Contra rure. Okay, so this is when they have rushed in against you. So when you've penetrated into these woods and mountain passes, the most bravest animal, the fortissimum animal, has rushed against you. Quomodo in this way, basically. Pavida and inertia. So pavida is the scared, and the inertia is the slothful. Ipso ag minus sonato. This, with this sound itself, that's ablative. Pelabantor, repelled them. The sound of your agmines, which is your columns, your marching columns. Sic, thus or so. The acerami, again the I is plural. So the most fiercest genitive of the Britons, Iam predem, now for some time ago, Cercitorant had fallen. Reliquos est, the rest of them, numerous, counted as or they number, ignavorum and metuentium. This is ignavorum is cowardly, and metuentium, those who fear. Quas quad tandem in venistis. So those quad which tandem at last in venistis you have found, you plural, not resisterant. That's not because they're resisting, sed deprehensor, but because they've been apprehended, they've been caught or cornered. These are the ones you found. They're not standing there in resistance. It's because they've now been caught. Novissime res. Novissime is another superlative. Technically it means the most recent, but it also would mean the last one, which it was. So in the last matter, and the extremist matters, in extreme fear, torpor, in torpor, which is sluggishness, again, it's they're very sluggish and slow. Defixere aciem in his vestiges. So by this extreme fear, they've stuck defixed in their line, so they're fixed in place. in these vestiges. Usually vestiges means footprints, foot tracks. So they're stuck here in this spot, basically, in quibus, in which pulchram and spectabilum victoriam ederitus. So ederitus here means it's been produced. So in which a beautiful and spectacular victory you will produce. Transigite, this is plural imperative. So be finished with, basically it's saying, can mean to pierce, but it usually means put an end to. Cum expeditions, put an end to these expeditions, these military campaigns. Imponite, another imperative plural. Place a magnum diem, this great day, to the conquigenta ennis of these 50 years. We'll finish off with one great day. He's talking about a battle. Ad probate, another imperative plural. So basically, prove re publica, prove to the republic. Numquam never. Exercertui, this is a dative singular. To the army. Imputare potuisse or mores belli or causus rebelliandi, which is a gerund. So prove the republic that the army was never been able to be thought of either the cause of these rebellions of the Britons or a morass or any delays of the war. I think that's about it, really. Chapter 35. Et ad loquente ad hoc Agricola. So this is a ablative here. And with Agricola, ad loquenting, present participle ablative, speaking, ad hoc still. So with Agricola still speaking, an ardor, that's an enthusiasm or a burning enthusiasm, militum of the soldiers, emanabant, was emanating or being produced. So Agricola was still speaking. There was an ardor rising up in the military. Et finem orationis, and at the end of the oration, of his speech, ingens alacritas consecutus. So consecutus is the female version. There was a huge alacrity, which is a huge enthusiasm, consecutor, followed when he made a finem, an end to the speaking. Statimque, and statim, and immediately, ad arma discursum. Discursum means they ran about, ad arma to their arms. Instinctos ruentis qui ita dispositum. So disposit means is where he's placed them. Instinctus means they're inspired, and ruentis means they're rushing about. Ita ut, so he placed these inspired and rushing about men, so that the peditum auxilia, this is the auxiliary foot soldiers, quae octo millimorunt, which are 8,000, medium aciem firmarented. They are firmarented, they are strengthened up the middle battle line, that's an apposition, female accusatives. Equitum tria millia cornibus ad fundarenta. So the equitum are the knights or the cavalry. Tria millia means 3,000. They ad fundarentored to the cornibus. They flowed out to the wings, basically. Legiones, the legions, pro vallo stetere. They stood pro in front of the vallo, which is a rampart or a palisade as they call it. Ingens victorae decis. So this would be a huge case of honour of victory. Citra, the preposition. Romanum sanguinem bellandi. I think the citra is meaning without any blood of the Romans in the war. So this would be a huge honour if they were without any bloodshed on the Romans in this war. And an auxiliary, if pellerentur, if the Roman legions were repelled. And we'll have a daily dictionary. Citra, the preposition before, less than on this side. You usually see it meaning on this side, with short of and without regard to. So they'll be without regard to the blood, or short of there being Roman blood. Britannorum Accies, so this is the battle line, the Accies of the Britons. Accies is the fifth declension, and Britannorum is the genitive. So the battle line of the Britons in speciem, in appearance, the same time, or similac, could go together, meaning, so first of all, as soon as a terrorem, editoriabus locus considerat. So they stood, considerat, on the editoria, that's a comparative with the place, so on a higher up places. So the battle line of the Britons was in appearance, so that there would be terror from them standing on the higher places, it ut again, the correlatives, and so that primum agmen, the first or front lines of the agmen of the columns, were in eque, were on the flat, the ceterae, the rest, per acclave, through this slopingness, connexi jugum, basically means that connected to the ridge line. The jugums can be a yoke, but it's also the ridge line. So the first of them were on a flat. These other people were in a rather higher places, going up through a climb up towards the ridge, velut as if insurgerant, as if surging up, as if it was climbing higher and higher. We're almost done. Media campo, in the middle of the plain. Media is the middle, campo is the plain. Covinarius equities. Covinarius is an alternative spelling. You can do it without the N. This means charioteers, basically. So horse charioteers, horse wagons. Strepitu in their din, and discourse running about complebat, the imperfect. So in the middle of the camp, it was complebated. It was filled up with these war chariots with their din and their running about. Tum Agricola. Then Agricola, superante hostium multitudine veritas. So Agricola is veritas, he's fearing. Superante means there's more of them, basically, a multitude of enemies. Fearing the overwhelming amount or the outnumbering amount of the enemy. Veritas ne is inverted with a verb of fearing. So fearing that in front, I'm in the front, simul, and the latera, and the sides, the flanks. So fearing simul, same time, a front and sides, suorum of his men, pugnerita, they would be fighting. Diductus ordinibus, quam porrectia acais, futura erat. So although he was thinking his battle lines would be porrectia as a comparative, so it's more stretched out or offered, with these ordinibus, these are the rows and rows of soldiers would be stretched out, and ces endas pleriqui legiones admonibant. So pleriqui, most of his men, I'm guessing, were admonishing him or advising him for this drundive. Can't send this means to summon his legions. So most people were advising him to summon the legions, but promptior in spem and firmitas adversus. So, but he's promptior, he's more ready at hand, in spem in his hope, and firmus, and he was very firm, I guess. He was ready in his hope and his decisions, adversus to these, what he was facing. Dimisso equo, he dismissed his horsemen, or it's a single horse. Peds anti-vexilla considered. So considered means he stood there, anti-vexilla. The vexillas are the big flags or the banners that they have. Peds. So he sent away the horse and stood on foot with his foot people before the front lines.